This conference will now be recorded.
Great, let's start today's session. In the last session of Python, we started object-oriented programming, and also I explained you the difference between constructor and method. And without constructor, we can execute our program, and without method also, we can execute our program. And constructor or method, anyone compulsory include in the object-oriented programming class. Now, today, I'm going to discuss about types of variables which are allowed in Python class. Means in object-oriented programming inside the class, what type of variables we can include or what types of variables allowed. I would like to discuss that. Okay. Types of variables are allowed in Python class. So just once you can remind the definition of the class which I discussed. So class is a collection of variables and methods. But what type of variables class contain? Okay, and what type of methods also? That I'm going to discuss now. So actually three types of variables are allowed in Python class. So that is instance variable. That variable is also called as object level. Next, static variable. That variable is also called as class level. And next, local variables that also called as method level. Okay. So these types of variables are there here. First, we look into instance variable. Types of variables are allowed in Python class. What type of variables are allowed in Python class? Three types of variables are allowed. One is instance variables. Instance variable, these are also called as object level. Object level, we can say that. Next one is static variables. These are also called as class level. Next, local variables. The local variables, these are also called as method level. Yes. Instance variables also called as object level. Static variables also called as class level. Local variables are also called as method level. Okay. So coming to the point, instance variables I'm talking first. Instance variables. So what is instance variables? How to work with them? Simple. Each and every point I'm going to use here. Each and every point I'm trying to give clarity. So please try to understand. First, let me give the definition of instance variables. What type of variables are called instance variables? Okay. If the value of variable, if the value of variable is varied means different, varied from object to object. If the value of variable is varied from object to object, object to object, then such type of variables are called instance variables, we can say. If the value of variable is varied from object to object, then such type of variables are called instance variables. Means for every object, instance variables are different. Okay. So next, what I'm trying to say, where we can declare instance variable. Okay. I will give you a justification of this statement. If the value of variable is varied from object to object, then such type of variables are called instance variables. I'm saying no. I'll give justification of this statement later. But now, where we can declare instance variables, where we can declare instance variables. So in which places we can declare instance variable? Okay. So place number one, inside the constructor, we can declare instance variable inside the constructor by using what? Self. Next, inside the instance method, by using what? Self. Self. Next, outside of the class by using what? Object reference. The reason is inside the class, self will work, like inside the constructor. Inside the method actually, instance method means again you will get confused. Let's try to turn method. Inside the method by using self. Outside of the class by using object reference. Using these through, we can declare instance variable. Declare is different. Access is different. That also how to notice. Let me show you a quick example for every statement so that you'll understand. So this is my third program. This is test 3. In this, I'm including one simple class. Now you can see class test. It's my class name. Class test is my class names are actually class test. Okay, class test. Now in this class test, what I'm trying to do, so I'm taking one constructor. So that is init is the constructor, you know that. And I'm declaring variable a value equals to 10. This is what instance variable. We can declare instance variable using within the constructor using self, and within the method name is I'm taking m1. You can take any method. Self dot b equals to 20. Self dot b equals to 20, sir. This is what actually constructor and method. So we can declare instance variable inside the constructor. We can declare instance variable inside the m1 method. Inside the method actually m1, that is self dot b equals to 21. Got my point? So now we can declare instance variable outside the class also. Outside the class means I'm just creating object for class like test only. And now you can see outside the class we can declare instance variable t dot c equals to 30. So observe carefully. Where we can declare instance variables means inside constructor using self. Yes, inside the constructor using self, I declare one variable. This is called instance variable. Inside the method by using self. Inside the method means m1 is my method name. Inside this method, I'm declaring instance variable that is b. Self dot b equals to what? 20. Got my point? Next, inside the outside of the class. Outside of the class by using object reference means this is what? After creation of object, this is called outside the class. Outside the class, how it I declare instance variable by using object reference t dot c equals to 30. So how we can access all these things? Okay, to access all these things, and now you can see I'm trying to use dictionary here. So to print object reference dictionary means when I try to do DICT, now you can see in this line my object reference t values I'm printing through dictionary here. Now tell me anyone in the chat box, please give your answer. When I try to give this one, when I try to print this one, what is the result you're expecting in the dictionary? I'll wait for 1 minute for your answer. What is the values you're expecting in dictionary? Tell me in the print t dot underscore underscore dact like this. Please type in your answer in chat box. What values you're expecting in the dictionary? for this, you have to know when constructor will execute, when method will execute. You must and should have a that thing already I discussed in the previous session. Okay. Now tell me when constructor will execute automatically. Anyone? When constructor will execute automatically, I'm saying. I am asking question. So I hope what you should give. When constructor will execute, anyone? Yes, when we create instance or object of the class. Okay. Yeah. Now I created object for the class. So at this moment, who will execute? Constructor will execute. Constructor inside what variable is there? A is there. So T is having reference called a value 10. So we can expect in dictionary a value 10. Okay. Now anyway you can see T dot C value is there. T is object reference of C equals to 30. So we can expect C value also in the dictionary. So I asked that only. What values are there in dictionary format in when we go for this one? A value 10, C value 30. A value 10 and C value 30. Now give me the reason why B value is not available in dictionary. Tell me the reason. Why B value is not present in dictionary, I'm saying. Yes, exactly. We don't, we have not called the method M1, no? So if we don't call the method M1, then how B value is going to be assigned? Okay, 20 value will be assigned or B will be initialized, no. So method will execute when we call, I said in the previous examples. If we don't call the method will not execute. But unfortunately here, I have not called this M1 method. So I'm going to call the M1 method here. How to call T dot M1. So now this time you can expect three values in dictionary: A value 10, B value 20, C value 30. So when A value will come into this dictionary, as soon as when we create object to the class, constructor will execute. Inside the constructor, I declare variable A. So A is holding in dictionary. And when we call method M1, so method I'm calling M1 method. So inside the M1 method, B value 20, so that B value 20 will be there. And when we go for C value 30, T dot C equals to 30. C is what actually 30. T is an object reference only. Now T dot C means automatically 30 also will be there. So this is what instance variables declaration. Declaration means this is only. Okay, this is only declaration. In which places we can declare instance variable means I said inside the constructor we can declare instance variable. Inside the method we can declare instance variable. Outside of the class we can declare instance variable using object reference like this. Got my point? Yes. Now coming to this next where we can access instance variables. How to access instance variable I'm telling you. How to access instance variables. Okay, point number one. We can access instance variables. We can access instance variables within the class by using self, and at the same time we can access instance variables. We can access instance variables outside of the class by using object reference. Yes. How to access instance variables means We can access instance variables within the class by using self, and we can access instance variables outside of the class by using object reference. I'm going to show you one more example about these two statements. Okay, let's go to test 4, and again I'm creating class name is test, and now you can see this is what constructor. Inside the constructor I'm declaring my instance variables a value 10, self dot only declaration is happens are here, b value 20. Now you can see inside the method, this means class only. How we can access instance variable? Self dot a print. Print means access. Self dot b. So the statement number 1 you can observe. We can access instance variables within the class by using self. Yes, this M1 method is within the class only. I am accessing instance variables a and b using what? Self only, self dot a, self dot b, M1 method like this. Okay. Next, what I'm trying to do outside of the class, as I said that we can access instance variables outside of the class by using object reference. Outside of the class by using object reference. T equal to test. T equal to test. T equal to test. Now outside the class, how to access instance variables? Print object reference variable like t dot a, print t dot b like this. This is accessibility. Access means print. Declare means this one, sir. In the previous example, we have seen how to declare instance variables. Now this examples, we are trying to access instance variables within the class using self, outside the class using object reference like this only. Now coming to this test 4. So 10, 20 and like this one. This is 10 and this is 20 like this. Okay. This is instance variables accessibility in what cases? Inside the class, if you want to access instance variables, using self is possible. Outside the class, if you want to access instance variables, using object reference is possible. You know very well self will work only inside the class, SCLF self. But outside the class, self will not work. Who will work? Object reference only will work. Okay? Yes. Now coming to this next, how to delete instance variable also I want to tell you. How to delete instance variable. How to delete instance variables. How to delete instance variables. So point number 1, we can delete instance variables. We can delete instance variables. We can delete instance variables within the class. Within the class. Within the class as follows. Within the class as follows. How to delete instance variables within the class? Del space self dot variable name. Okay, this is the syntax. Next, we can delete instance variables outside of the class as follows. Outside of the class as follows. We can use del keyword and class name dot, sorry, object reference name dot, object reference dot variable name like. These are all important rules. Okay. So how to delete instance variables? We can delete instance variables within the class as follows, like del space self dot variable name. We can delete instance variables outside of the class as follows, del space object reference dot variable name. So any way you can able to delete, but both way I'm going to show you how to delete. But before deleting, one important note I want to give. It's regarding completely instance variables only. So I will give justification of instance variable definition, which I have included here. If the value of variable is varied from object to object, then such type of variables are called instance variables. I said no. So I want to give justification for that. So note, um, we can create any number of objects to the class. We can create any number of objects to the class, that you know that. Okay. But for every object, yeah, every object, separate for every object, separate copy of instance variables. Instance variables will be created. We can create any number of objects to the class. For every object, a separate copy of instance variables will be created. If we delete or if we change or delete one copy of instance variables, if we change or delete one copy of instance variables, then other copy of instance variables will not affect, I can say. Note this point, very important. So in this point only, there is a clear definition of instance variables. Why I'm saying that is value of variable is varied from object to object, then such type of variables are called instance variables. Okay. So we can create any number of objects to the class. For every object, a separate copy of instance variables will be created. If we change or delete one copy of instance variables, then other copy of instance variables will not affect, we can say that. Other copy of instance variables will not affect. Okay, let's try to do this. So coming to this example 5. In this example 5, I'm taking a class called test and I'm declaring one constructor. Inside the constructor, I'm using self.a equals to 10. These are all instance variable declaration. Self.b equals to 20. And then self.c equals to 30 only. Now you can see I'm trying to delete instance variables inside the method. M1 method through I want to delete. Okay, so how to delete instance variables inside the class? Del space self dot variable name. Variable name is which variable you want to delete. You can decide. I want to delete. Now before deleting, you can see class test and print t dot underscore dictionary. So now tell me, what is the result you're expecting in this line? This line, when we execute, what is the result you're expecting? And when we execute that line, so which part of the code will execute? Tell me. Print t dot dictionary I'm taking. So whenever I execute this selected line, what output you're expecting? Tell me. I'm asking question. You have to give answer. A, B, C with respective values. Exactly. Because we are calling t dot dictionary. T is the reference of this class. When we create object to the class, automatically who will execute? Constructor will execute. This is the constructor part executed. Yes. So t dot dictionary initialization is takes place. Now you can see. Okay. T. Look at here. I'm creating T1 object here. Okay. T1 object. And T2 object also I'm creating, sir. T2 object, second object, because I have to give the justification of definition instance variable. Now T2 equal to test. Now T1 dot dictionary. Here T2 dot dictionary. Print T2 dot underscore dictionary. Now how many objects I created? Two. T1 and T2. T1 through I'm taking dictionary part, so automatically A value 10, B 10, C 30 will be there. T2 through I'm preparing dictionary A, B, C. Three values I'm taking. Now you can see T1 copy A10, B20, C30. T2 copy A10, B20, C30 clearly available. Okay. Now I'm calling this M1 method. As soon as when we call this M1 method, what will happen? You know that. So it's simply delete the variable A, because in this M1 method, I implement the code for deleting the variable name is A. So del space self dot A. So, but the matter is you are calling M1 method for which class object reference is the matter. Okay. If I call T1 dot M1, then look at here, T1 copy only affected that deletion of A, because I'm calling M1 method for which object reference? T1 copy, and T2 copy won't get disturbed, won't get delete A. The reason is we can create any number of objects to the class, and for every object, a separate copy of instance variables will be created. If we change or delete one copy of instance variables, then other copy of instance variables will not affect. That's clear statement. Now you can see before deleting these two instance copies like T1, T2 copies are having A10, B20, C30. But after deleting M1 method I called on T1, so T1 object only A is deleted. Now you can see T2 object still A10, B20, C30 is available. Got my point? So B20, C30 like this one. But A is deleted from which copy? T1 copy only. So T2 copy will not get disturbed. Got my point? Yes. But as I said, here I have shown deletion within the class only. So, but just observe in the context of how to delete instance variables. We can delete instance variables within the class as follows: del space self dot variable name. But we can also delete instance variables outside of the class as follows. What is that? Del space object reference dot variable name outside the class. This is object reference dot variable name. I said that. But outside the class, how I can delete? You can see this. Outside the class means object reference. Del space T2 dot B. Now observe here, this is outside the class deletion. In this outside the class also, which object reference variable I am deleting? T2 object B. But this B deletion will affect on T1? No, sir, it will not affect on T1. Now you can see I attempt to delete a B variable on T2 object, but here T2 object will not be, T2 object will be deleted, B A and C only there, and this B will not affect on T1 object. Okay. And you can change also. For example, I'm changing this T1 dot C value 99 empty. So on which object C reference variable we are changing? 99 T1 object. So T1 copy only will affect 99. The T2 copy will not affect. Still T2 copy is 30 only. Now you can see 30 only C2 copy, T2 copy. But T1 dot C, T1 object only C value reference changed 99 only from 30 to 99. So this is clear justification which I'm giving. For every object, a separate copy of instance variables will be created. If we change or delete one copy of instance variables, then other copy of instance variables will not affect them. Same. This is very clear. Okay. So that's the reason I said if the value of variable is varied from object to object, then such type of variables are called instance variables. Yes, every value every variable value is different for object to object. These are called instance variables or object level variables, we can say that. Okay, so what is instance variables? Where we can declare instance variables, how to access instance variables, and how to delete them, and what happens when we delete them, and each and every object will maintain separate copy of instance variables clearly. Okay, now coming to this static variables or class level variables, we can say that. Let me copy this one and definition I'm trying to give. So static variables I'm taking. What are the static variables? We'll see. As I said, in the instance variable context, if the value of variable is varied from object to object, then such type of variables are called static instance variable, as I said. But here, coming to the static variable, if the value of variable is not varied from object to object, then such type of variables we can declare such type of variables we can declare directly we can declare directly inside the class but outside of the methods are called static or class level variables, we can say. Static or class level variables are. If the value of variable is not varied from object to object, then such type of variables we can declare inside the class but outside of the methods, then such type of variables are called static or class level variables, I can say that. Okay, yes. So static variables, and where we can declare static variables here. Okay, so we can declare static variables, as I said, that outside of the class, sorry, within the class but outside of the method only. The variables which are declared, simple. Again, one more statement I'll write. The variables which are declared, which are declared, which are declared within the class, within the class, within the class, but outside of the methods, within the class, but outside of the methods, outside of the methods is called static variables. Is called static variables. Okay. But actually, throughout the class, there is only one copy of static variables will maintain. Okay. Just you can see for all objects references, for all objects, we can create any number of objects to the class, but for all object, there is only one copy of one copy of static variables will be created. For all objects, there is only there is only one copy of static variables will be created. There is only one copy of static variables will be created. Okay. So that's what, whenever we change static variable value, that all objects references will get impact. Yes. When we change static variable value, then all object references will get impact. So for all objects, there is only one copy of static variables will be created. For all objects, there is only one copy of static variables will be created. Once you change static variable value, it will affect on all objects only. Okay, so that is. So we can delete static variables anywhere, but that deletion I will tell you later very quickly, because for deleting static variable, I have to introduce some methods also, like instance method, class method, static methods. Again, that if I include here today, we cannot understand. So later I'll come across how to delete static variables clearly. But only static variables point I'm taking now. Once we declare the variable outside of the method inside the class, that variable is called static variable simply, that we can able to access either by using class name or objective reference name. Okay. And the difference between instance variable and static variable means class level variables means for class level variables, only one object will maintain, only one copy will maintain for all objects. Once you change the static variable value, that will affect on all object references. So we can access static variables. We can access static variables either by using class name or object reference. We can say that object reference. We can access static variables either by using class name or object reference. We can say that. So let's see practical implementation. Class name is test, and the variable which I'm declaring outside the methods inside the classes def underscore init. This is what actually B is instance variable. This variable is called static variable, or we can say, or class level variable. I can say class level. This variable is just now we discussed instance variable. Obviously, it is instance variable. So class is the keyword. Test here. A equals to 10 static or class level. Def underscore init self dot b equals to 20 instance variable, because the variable which is declared inside the constructor using self, that is instance variable. The variable which is declared inside the class but outside of the methods, this is static or class level variable. And both are there, sir. We have static variable and we have class instance variable. Both are there. Okay. Let's try to create object 1 to test the class and object 2 to test the class. Okay. Now you can see I'm printing here t1.a comma t1.b. Next print t2.a comma t2.b like this. So once I run this, what happened? You can see this 1020, 1020, both are coming. Yes, two copies are having same data. So T1, both objects are there. But look at here, I'm going to change this a value 10. Okay, a value 10. So whenever I try to change a value 10, generally static variables we can access through class name. So test.a equals to 99, I'm changing. When we do changes a variable, that is static variable, that changes will give impact on all objects only, like T1 as well as T2 also. You can see. So once I change static variable 99 from 10 to 99, this static variable will maintain only one copy for all objects. So that's what all objects has changed 99 only here. But instance variable is not like that. Instance variable means this one. If I change instance variable on which copy, that copy only will get impact. Now you can see T1 copy, I'm changing instance variable B value 55. Only 55 will affect on T1 copy, not T2 copy. That means, so there is clear difference between instance variables and static variables. So instance variable means how many number of objects we created. Each and every object will maintain separate reference, that is instance variables. Once we change or delete one copy reference, other copy will not affect. But static variable is not like that. This is throughout class level. Once static variable changed, then how many objects we created for that class, all object will get impact here clearly. Okay, so this is about static variable and instance variable differences. And last variable today which I want to discuss, that is local variable and method level. So simple, it is local variable means local variable or method level variable, we can say that. Local variables, the variables which is declared, simple, the variables which are declared inside the variables which are declared inside the particular inside the particular methods, and that variables are that variables and that variables are available to available that variables are available to only that function, only that method is called local variables or method level variables. Local or method level variables, we can say. The variables which are declared inside the particular methods, and that variables are available to only that method is called local or method level variables. And local variables local variables are also called as temporary variables. temporary Variables. Temporary variables. Because temporary variables, why I'm saying here, local variables are also called as temporary variables. Temporary variables means these variables will create, these variables will create, will create automatically when method executes. Once method execution completes, then these local variables gets deleted. Okay. Local variables are also called as temporary variables because these variables will create when we call method or when we execute method. When we execute the methods, once method execution completes, then these variables will be destroyed. These variables will be destroyed, we can say. That's what these are local temporary variables, we can call it as. Local variables also called as temporary variables because these variables will create when we execute the methods. Once method execution completes, the variables will be destroyed. So this is local variables. And now let's see the example of local variable quickly. I have a class called test again, and in this class I'm taking M1 method. M1 method I'm declaring 1a, print a I can able to access in M1 method. And def M2 method, and M2 method I'm declaring b value 20, print what actually b, I can say that. Now t equal to test I'm taking, and you can see t is object reference variable, test is a class, and M1 is a method, M2 is a method. How to call this M1 and M2? M1 method and M2 method like this. T dot M1, T dot M2. Once I run this, and now you can see M1 method through we are calling local variable a value 10, M2 method through we are calling local variable b value 20. But note this point, this a cannot be able to access outside of its methods. So I declare a variable in M1, but we are trying to access in M2. Is that possible? Not possible, sir. You can see we are getting error. Name error, name a is not defined. Okay. At the same time, if I try to access b variable inside the method M1, so that is not possible. Print b. So this is also will give error. The error is name error, b is not defined. Okay. So the which variable uh, in this M1 method, which variable you declared, that variable value only we can able to access. Outside the method, we cannot access. So that's what these are local variable or method level variable only. But don't use this self, sir, here. If I use self, what will happen, sir, this variable? It is an instance variable now. So instance variable means you can able to access this a into outside the class also, or outside the other method also, like self dot a. But a is I declared in M1 method. Inside the M1 method I'm accessing, inside the M2 method also I'm accessing. So this is what actually instance variable now again. Okay. So the variable which is declared using self, that is instance variable. The variable which is declared inside the particular method without self, that is local variable. And the variable which is declared outside of the class, within the class outside of the method. This is called static variable. So you can recognize just if I declare a variable inside the class but outside of the method is called static or class level. The variable which is declared inside the particular method, and this is called local variable. This variable is only suitable to use inside the method only, not M2 method. And the variable which is declared inside the constructor using self, okay, inside the method using self, outside the class using object reference, this is called instance variables. So these are the different types of variables are allowed in Python object-oriented programming class. But how we have three types of variables are allowed in Python class. Class is a collection of variables and methods. Now you can see three types of methods also are allowed in Python class. Types of methods are allowed in Python class. What methods are there? First one, instance methods. First one, instance method. Next one, class methods, class methods. And next one, static methods, static methods. Instance methods, class methods, static methods. These are the methods are available. Got my point? So we'll talk about these methods in tomorrow's session clearly. So today what we just complete types of variables in Python class. And similarly, what three types of variables are there now? Each variables I explain here how to work, how to use it. And at the same time, three types of methods also should get clarity. Once you get clarity of these three types of methods, then we'll start with our object-oriented programming features now. Okay, I'm just copying this total script into your chat box. If you want, you can collect and paste into Notepad. Anyway, in this week, I will send the advanced copy of PDF document advanced Python. So in that also, these points will be there clearly. Just for temporary reading purpose, if you want to copy this text, you can collect from chat box clearly and paste into Notepad. And when we practice today's session, so you can read it carefully, you can practice and understand this each and every points clearly. Okay. So tomorrow we'll cover types of methods are allowed in Python class. Because our class definition is clear. Class is a collection of variables and methods. So I'm talking about three types of variables, and tomorrow we'll discuss three types of methods. So once you get understand variables and methods, where to declare and where to access, how to access, what rules and regulations, so it will be easy to understand further programming like object-oriented programming features. Okay, so that's all for now.